Let's talk about God a little bit. Hello guys, welcome to Catholic Conversations, episode 5. I'm here with my cousin Veronica. Say hi.
Hi.
How old are you?
I am 13.
You're 13, and you are Simon's sister.
Older sister.
Older sister. Older and greater sister. So let's talk about something Catholic. So tell me a little bit about your family. And you grew up in a Catholic family, right?
I did grow up in a Catholic family. Also, when I was adopted from Guatemala, my entire family came, so it's kind of just like, I always feel blessed every day to have such an amazing family because I know how poor Guatemala is, and it's just, I don't know, I'm very grateful for this family.
That's awesome. Do you see God? How do you see God working in your life? Let's just talk about that in general.
Well, because I have older and younger siblings, it's kind of like I get to see God through both of them because Simon is still, working towards, growing closer to him, and
he's just a wee little man.
There you go. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and the wee little man was really little. He climbed up in a sycamore tree for the Lord he wanted to see.
You're gonna teach him.
Yeah, I'm the teacher. And Dominic and Lucy are, Dominic has already been confirmed, so I get to, and he also runs, religion and stuff. So I get to see, how he has grown into, being closer to God, how he's just so great to be around because you can have great conversations with him and he won't offend you in any way because, he's grown close to God.
He's wise.
So he's wise. He's a wise old man.
Sometimes I offend people. Sorry. Okay. All right. I like it. In what way? Tell me one way that you looking up to Dom, having an older sibling, and Lucy too. In what way has that taught you about God or led you closer to God?
Because they know so much more than me. I can have deeper conversations with them about how it's gonna feel to be confirmed, and, things in way future, like marriage, the right person. Mm-hmm. Because Dom has already met Chelsea and
shout out to Chelsea.
Shout out to Chelsea. Because they're getting married and they're so good for each other, and that's why I look up to him so much in marriage, because they're such a great fit and I want to find that person. But if it's not my call, right, then I'm fine with that.
Watch the vocations video if you want to know about vocation. I like that. So kind of, what's your advice? So you're a middle child, you would say that.
Yes.
So what's your advice to other middle children growing up in Catholic families?
Being a middle child, you are forgotten sometimes. But just know that your parents will always love you the same if you're growing up in a Catholic family and you are the middle child, coincidentally. So, just because you're the middle child doesn't mean your parents love your younger sibling anymore or your older sibling anymore. You're all loved the same. So you shouldn't ever feel treated differently. But if you are, you should most likely go talk to your mother or father about it. Woohoo! Shout out to Aunt Julie,
my mom.
Middle child.
She's a middle child too. Yeah. So we can all agree that our parents aren't perfect, right?
They're not.
They're good, but they're not necessarily perfect. So this is a leading question, obviously. But when your parents aren't perfect, where do you go to? As a middle child, you might, or just any child, but especially a middle child, you might feel a little bit more neglected because you got the older sibling, you got the younger sibling getting more attention. Where do you go to in those times, or where should you go to?
You should probably go to your older sibling because your younger sibling is still learning from you. Yeah. And because you're so close, I feel like if you have an older sibling, you take on their traits, so you can relate to them more.
Yeah.
So it's easier to talk to them.
Yeah.
So.
What about God? Let's talk about God a little bit. Like, have you ever heard, like, God as Father? Because that's, like, kind of the first... Is that kind of, like... What was your first, like, concept of God growing up? Was it God as Father, or was it something else?
It was God as Father.
God as Father.
Yes, God as Father, and you should love Him above anything else. And then I would always question, what about your family? What about your friends? But, of course, in the end, it doesn't matter how many friends you have, how many siblings you had. It just matters if you loved God or not.
And then also the other way around. What about the fact that, like, God the Father... And this channel is called Arms of the Father. Arms of the Father. He wants to hug you. What about, like, God as Father? He loves you. And, like, you are in his arms. Like, no matter what happens on this earth. Like, even if you're growing up in, like, a family that is broken, and your parents may be divorced, your siblings, you might not have any siblings or something like that. But you still have, like, a loving Father in heaven. Like, how do you conceptualize that? Like, do you think about that often? Or no?
I do, because... Like, I always think about, like, how it would be if I did grow up, like, with my biological parents. And because, you don't know my dad or whatever, I would always think about, having, like, another father figure, like, with you at all times, no matter what. You could always go to him. You can always pray for anything. And he'll always be there for you. So it's kind of like... He's kind of like a safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if you're ever feeling, I don't know, sad or something, I feel like I can always go to him and ask him for healing, because he is, like, the number one. Yeah. So he can do anything.
He's like the safety, and he's like our rock and our foundation. Wow, my voice. We did 3 of these episodes in a row.
You did.
So, wow, that's a real testament, because, like, you were adopted, and the fact that, like, you've been brought into this amazing family, but ultimately, like, we all belong to the family of God in the end. Our greatest family is the heavenly family, and God is our Father, and, like, Mary is our mother, and we're all, like, in that family no matter what. Like, no matter what family situation we find on this earth, our connection is in heaven. It's going to be in the heavenly family. And that must bring, like, a lot of consolation to anyone, right?
Yeah, because having that sense of, like, security, knowing that you have, like, a family, even if your family is not in the best state at the moment, it's kind of, like, comforting to know that there is a family for you.
Amen. That's a great message. Anything you want to say? Any last words? Any shout-outs?
Shout out to Simon for his talk. He's just a wee boy.
He's a wee boy.
Really little, he climbed up in a sycamore tree for the Lord he wanted to see.
He's a wee boy.
He'll learn from this
boy.
talk.
He'll learn from me. He'll learn. Shout out to Lucy. Actually, no, X shout out, because she's not here.
Ooh, anti-shout out.
Anti-shout out. She's
right.
Cancelled.
Alright, well, is that it?
Sign off.
Signing off for now. See you later. Click subscribe right here if you want to see more. Boop, boop, boop. Comment what you think. Comment if you love your family too. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. See ya.
Pet cheerio.
Yes, it finished.
It finished.
Good job.